Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out a new FPV camera. This is one from Aomway. It's CCD camera and has a 2.8mm lens. It's 650 TV lines and it's based on the Sony CCD sensor. So basically it's like an HS1177 RunCam Swift of that type. It does have an OSD with a voltage reading, your pilot name, and I believe one other thing. We'll take a look at that in a second. The thing that this doesn't have, it doesn't have a voltage sensor line like the Foxy or Arrow. I'll just show you what's on the back of the camera here. You got a voltage range of 5 to 35 volts, and then so you got the power, you got the ground, video, audio, and then you got two pinouts for your OSD. And this OSD pinout and cable and joystick is, I think, the same one that comes with the RunCam Swift here. It looks exactly the same. There is no voltage sensor line, so whatever voltage you're getting on this power line here on the far top one, the red here, that's the one. That's what's going to read there. So if this is plugged into a PDB with a voltage regulator, like 12 volts, that's what you're going to get. So it's not terribly useful. If you're running it off a direct LiPo voltage, and you get the actual LiPo voltage in your OSD. So in addition to the OSD cable, you get a little OSD extension cable here if you want to run this out somewhere on your mini quad, and then you get a cable for the connector here for your power, ground, audio, and video. I think there's a microphone right here. Okay, so right there, this small hole for the microphone. So if your video transmitter can take audio, then it'll send the audio signal out to your video transmitter, and then obviously to your DVR. Now, as I mentioned, this has a 2.8mm lens, and that's pretty narrow field of view. It's 100 degrees approximately. So probably typically like what the old HS1177 used to come with, this is probably the same lens. I think most people these days are running like 2.5, 2.3, or 2.1 for a wider field of view. This is an IR block lens, by the way. Not much of a manual here. Show you some of the stats. And it says it's PAL NTSC switchable, so I'll check that in the settings. It's got a wide dynamic range. The voltage range is 5 to 36 volts, and it says it weighs about 12 grams. So it's pretty typical, nothing unusual going on here. And then one other thing that I didn't mention was that the bracket here, it's got 2 screw holes on each side for setting your angle, and the bracket's already mounted. It looks like this is the top, and so depending on where your mini quad is, where you're going to mount it on your mini quad, you might have to reverse this. Okay, so I got it plugged in, and I just got hooked up to a video transmitter here. This video transmitter outputs 5 volts to the camera, so this is why you see a output voltage of 5 volts here, so not all that useful. And then here's the on time, 19 seconds, and this is your pilot name. The default is Aomway. Okay, let's go into the OSD, and this looks like a typical HS1177 type menu, except for this top line here. It says FPV setup. It says here Aomway menu. We'll go in here, and this is where you can set up your pilot name, and you can turn on audio, turn the name on, or change the position, the on time, and then also a little horizon bar and your power. So I'm going to actually turn off the power. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off the audio. I'm going to turn off the power. And I'm going to move the on time. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn all of these things off because the drone that I'm going to be putting this in already has a Betaflight OSD, so it's actually going to overlap, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn this stuff off. Okay, so all the on-screen stuff is turned off currently. And go back into the setup here. All the rest of these settings are pretty much going to be the same or similar to the HS1177. I'm going to change day-night to color. Now I'm going to go to image adjust and I'm going to adjust my contrast and sharpness settings. Actually like that all the way up, and then change this to LCD. And then I usually like to have digital noise reduction turned off. So these are the settings I usually like. Yeah, I'll go ahead and exit. It's a pretty nice looking image, I think. I'll go ahead and I'll show you the field of view here. And typically on the HS1177 with the GoPro lens, I can usually see the bottom window and past this clock up here. Usually I can go all the way up to about here. So it's about 100 degrees versus, say, I think 130 degrees on with the GoPro lens, and then on the width is also narrower here. Usually I can, on the wider, like 2.3 or 2.5 millimeter lenses, I can go all the way out to this other window over here, but I can't only see the bookcase. So definitely a little bit narrower. But and some people like that, some people don't. Just depends on what your preferences are. I believe that this will take a GoPro lens just like I did on the HS1177. It's an M12 lens, and I did a video on that already. So if you're interested in seeing how to do that, I'll put a card in the corner here, and you can check that video out. So go ahead and I'll install this into one of my drones, and then we'll get you some flight footage here next.